Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and this is Westworld Season 3, Episode 6, Decoherence, which episode. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you're going to see a video pop up at the very end here. Basically, what YouTube does takes the algorithms of all the stuff. You can hit the bell down below there. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at my weekly schedule, which is also posted on my Facebook page. And it's also got all my social media links on there too. It's suspendedfanimation.com. And speaking of Facebook, there's a Facebook group page which you guys can post stuff on and chat amongst yourselves. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Patreon page, but no tiers set up as of yet. There we go. All right. Spoiler alert. I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. And you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. So, not a lot happened, huh? I'm kidding. Yeah, we had Maeve gets a little bit of incentive in order to find Dolores. Excuse me. But she also tells Serac that she needs help, kind of like Dolores has help. So that's why he's pushing for Delos. That's why he was trying to get Delos, was so that one, Dolores wouldn't be able to use it against. He puts her in hell, essentially, is what he says, where she's going to be in time loops over and over and over again. Kind of like what happens sometimes with YouTube when it skips and things like that. Actually, that's a little bit worse than what he's got in store for Maeve. In the meantime, William is in the funny farm. He's in the funny factory, is what he is. And he's getting the same kind of treatment that Cal got, which is that little doodad that's up inside his palate. It actually has its own little set of screws that screw in, which looked really fucking painful. And having had a palate spreader when I was a kid for braces and stuff like that, I can attest having something attached to your palate like that is a fucking nightmare. So yeah, it was pretty bad. And this is a procedure that they've been using on soldiers for PTSD, also for controlling them, I think, as well, because as we know, they're using it on outliers and things like that as well. So William is going to go through that pleasant experience, and I love him sitting there in group therapy when one guy's talking about God's plan, and William scoffs at him and basically gives his his thoughts on what humanity is and God, and basically how God gave up on us long ago, and that we're basically a bacterium that covers a little mud ball of a world that's hurtling through the universe, and that essentially all we're here for is to how did he put it there? Speed up entropic chaos. And by the time he's done, a woman in the group just starts sobbing because of how brutal he actually is. Ryan Knox, you thought it was the worst episode yet? I didn't think it was that bad. Excuse me. Mainly because of William actually pulling his mind together is what this whole thing was. It was him actually coming out of whatever break that he had, that fracture. This is what this was, is we saw a fracture of his mind where you see all the different versions of himself, and even James Delos at one point. So yeah, he does have a hallucination where he is all these different versions of himself, and he's sitting in group therapy. This is after he gets the palette thing put in, and gets thrust into AR, which is an augmented reality, which glasses and everything. And yeah, he basically it's I love what Delos actually said to him at one point, because they're all arguing. He starts screaming at them to all shut up, and Delos turns to him and goes, "Don't interrupt, William. It's not all about you." And I just thought that was actually kind of funny. And of course, well, what is, they actually, it was kind of funny. I watched it with the subtitles on, and they were calling people William, young William, and I believe they called our version that's sitting in the factory right now, they called him the Man in Black. That's what they called him. They didn't call the Man in Black, the guy that was actually dressed in black, as the Man in Black in the subtitles, but they did call that one the Man in Black. They also called him Billy, for the young version of himself, and young William. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting thing there. But yeah, he basically beats all his other selves to death because he says, what does it matter at this point? You know, I am what I am at this point, and I know what my purpose is, and I'm the good guy, is what he says. Yeah, and then we have Charlotte, of course. She tries everything she can to stave off Sarek from taking over Delos, and of course, he murders Brompton, the board member who's putting all this, who's trying to privatize Delos, and he basically murders him right in front of her. Has his guys murder him, I should say, and stops that board meeting from ever happening. And she calls Dolores. I guess what is it? She's Chaloris at that point. So Chaloris calls Dolores and tells her what's happening, and Dolores basically says, "Download the proprietary stuff that we need to print more bodies, and then get the fuck out," is what she says. And she's in the process of doing that, and Delos comes by and locks the entire building down and wants everyone tested in the building in Delos. And of course, finds out that she is one of them, not because of the testing, but because of the way she was acting towards her son. Because the real Charlotte would never give a shit about her son, and that was kind of fucked up, quite honestly. And she did give a shit about her son, so or Charlotte's son, I should say. And she ends up gassing the entire boardroom. And Sarek, of course, is not there. He's being a hologram at that point. But we do get a return of the riot control robot that comes in and starts wiping out guards, picking up guards and throwing them. So it was kind of cool seeing the riot control robot come back and do that as well. Ryan Knox has felt like a forced 180-degree character spin, not natural development. I think because they had the shortened season, Ryan Knox, that they had to ramp things up a bit further, so they didn't have the character development that they normally would have. Key moments to turn those slowly like you normally would if you had what was it, they had 13 episodes before, so they only have 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry, four more. There you go. Uh, I don't agree with that yeet yo, dude. There's a whole bunch of people that project their own shit onto this, and I don't agree with that. So, yeah, I didn't see any of that in there. And last I checked, I have a penis. So, and actually, I just checked about 5 seconds before I came on the air because I had to pee. So there you go on that one. Um, and Charlotte actually, she or Shaloris, I should say, ends up taking off, limps away, gets her family. She's trying to get her family to safety, and Surex men blow up her car and don't kill her because she crawls out of the car. They didn't see her crawl out of the car. She's all burned and everything, but her family's dead. And she's going to be pretty pissed off at this point. She's probably going after him now at that point. Um, and his different personalities, all his different versions of himself all this time. He's just basically just been left in the AR chair from when we saw him after he bit off the nurse's fingers and was still had a sedative, put into him there. And who finds him but Stubbs and Bernard and Stubbs. So that's kind of weird. We don't know how long he's actually been in there, but he's been in there for a while and looks a little bit dazed when he comes out of it. And Maeve, poor Maeve. She is actually stuck in virtual reality still, or in that program, and she's trying to get Hector out, and Charlotte ends up killing Hector. She actually crushes his pearl because Serac actually has the pearls moved over to Delos to the basement unit, and I'm forgetting Muramasa at this point. I doubt it, but we'll see who it is. We didn't see if it was male or female because when it was coming up, all you saw was the head come up out of the goo. That was about it. Maeve is really pissed off at Dolores right now. Shaloris is pissed off at Serac, and you know, next week we're getting Caleb's story of what happened to Caleb and how he came about and all of this stuff. So yeah, it was an interesting story. It moved along a lot of plot points, and that's was something that we needed because we don't have a lot of time left in all this. I'm looking at my notes here to see what we found out. If there's anything else, that's pretty much the long and short of it there. Oh, and then also Dolores and Maeve. So in the simulation, Maeve was actually talking to a version of Dolores, an old version of Dolores at this point, to see if she could understand what was going on, if they could come to some kind of impasse, or if they could come to some kind of agreement so that they didn't have to go to war with each other. And of course, Dolores is like, no, I'm not giving you the key. And she goes, that's, basically, I need to do this in order to save our species and kill off all of mankind at the same time. And so she's like, yep, sorry, not going to happen. And of course, after Shaloris kills Hector, we see that even Maeve, when she's getting printed, still has the power a little bit. She makes the lights flicker inside of Delos in the printing room, which I thought was pretty fucking cool. So yeah. So good stuff. I mean, it wasn't the best thing in the world, but it was actually some good sci-fi for a change, you know? It's I thought it was good sci-fi, and I like it, quite honestly. So, I know a lot of people didn't like it here, so, what are you gonna do at that point? And, yeah, I didn't see any kind of agendas going on or whatever the hell else is the buzzwords of the day. Um, yeah, so and as Penn says, "Yeah, thanks for sharing on that one." I'm not trying to blow you off or anything like that, it's just that, you know, I God, honestly, I keep hearing that thing all the time, and it's gotten to the point where it's just become background noise when someone goes, "Oh, it's got an anti-male agenda," or it's some kind of agenda. It's got this kind of agenda. It's got that. It just like there are plenty of other channels that talk about misogyny and all that kind of stuff out there. They're all out there. Just to let you know, I'm just talking about that kind of talk that's been out there. Yes, and Joker, thank you for reminding me. We did have the Jimmy Simpson cameo, which was fucking awesome. I'm glad he came back for a little bit there too. And Ryan, honestly, dude, it's part of story. People, there's rise and fall, rise and fall. That's how it goes. So there's no one gender dominating another or anything like that. So yeah, uh, it's storyline. You can't have all the people rising up all the time. Otherwise, it just doesn't make a good story. So, all right. And I'm looking forward to next week's actually to find out a little bit more Caleb because, quite honestly, I'm still not sold on that character as of yet. I'm not really a big fan of I'm blanking on his name now. Aaron Carter. Yeah, there we go. I'm not a really big fan of his. I think he's kind of a really overrated, like extremely overrated as an actor. And yeah, I'm not sold on his character at all, other than being cannon fodder. That's pretty much all I think. What are the interesting theories, Joker? That he's actually a host? Because I think he's supposed to be the parallel of humans as hosts, is what he's supposed to be. I think that's what my theory is that he's the human version of host just being overwritten. And I think that's about as far as Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy have thought about that. He's the brother of Serac. No, we saw his brother. We saw Sarek's brother. You think he's actually, been downloaded and he's now in a host body? Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it'd be interesting, but, Sarek didn't have that kind of he didn't have access to that. He had a little bit of the data 20 years ago, but he doesn't have it now. That's why he was taking over Delos. So, and that was the other thing too, is that Serac basically said, he only wants certain assets from the park transferred over and destroyed at this point. And we see actually the people over at Westworld down in storage. They're just burning the bodies that are down there, all the bodies that are in storage at the moment. Yeah. Oh, is it 8 episodes? Okay, so we only have 2 episodes left. Thank you, dude. I didn't- I couldn't remember if it was 8 or 10 on that one. I didn't get a chance to take a look at it. Thrash Groove. Oh yeah, the what about William's blood test, an unknown protein? So that's the unknown protein that basically says that he's a host. And I actually wrote it down in my notes here, and I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Thrash Groove. Um, yeah, I believe that was still Dolores's code. Uh, kind of fucking that over to basically show that he's not a host, that he's actually human. Because it showed an unknown protein for a second, then you see the screen flicker, and then it goes back to normal. That he's normal now at this point. So that makes it even worse there, where they have only 8 episodes this season. So they have 2 more episodes to go. So with the shortened season, that's another reason why you're getting shorted on some of the character development, and you're having to rush things a bit more. And if they even had 2 more episodes, they could have, at least fleshed out some stuff a little bit further. But they don't have the time, so that's why they're kind of rushing things along. And I'm okay with it, tell you the truth. This is good enough storytelling where I'm okay with it. It's not great storytelling. It's not like knock it out of the park kind of storytelling. I've seen better with, just as a long an episode span, but I think it's fine. The repeat of scenes are supposed to be showing that, that I guess you're talking about Maeve being in the simulation, and it's supposed to be that way, but yeah. And it is going to come at a sacrifice of character development, like I said. I'm okay with it. They're doing a good job so far. Now, if the end of this season turns out to be a total shit show, I might have different opinions on that one. Um, but hopefully they stick the landing when they come, when they get to it here. When we find out what the fuck is going on, really. Like, I know Dolores is trying to, you know, kill all humans, and Maeve, of course, is now on a mission to save all humans because otherwise she's going to be put in kind of a hell. And William might be trying to save all humans as well. Who knows? But he most likely will fuck it up in the process because that's William for you. I kind of have a feeling that William is he starts off with the best of intentions. And then it kind of all veers back to himself, you know. And we saw when he's talking to himself when they have the younger self go back. He keeps talking about how his childhood, how his dad was a drunk and all this kind of stuff, and that you get the feeling that he was abused. And James Delos is like, "Oh no, 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 that's not the way it is. Let's go back and take a look at it." And so, of course, they send young William in, and we find out he's been a psychopath all his life. He basically broke another kid's arm and busted out 3 of his teeth for talking shit about him and his dad. So, yeah. Yeah, dude. So I love this episode and the last one. First few were just spinning wheels, in my opinion. No, they were setting up what was to come, and I they had to do a little bit of world building there because we hadn't seen what the outside world was. All we saw was Westworld. We had not seen what was going on with the outside world, other than a couple of Williams parties, which could have been at any time. and I thought they did a good job of setting that all up. It's been very coherent, quite honestly, and which is kind of funny when you have an episode named Decoherence. And I think also that has to do with the decoherence of, well, it's a degrading of information, one, and two, also it deals with William coming out of um, his AR therapy, if you will, and being decoherent at that point too. So, Yo2 says I'm critiquing, but it's a drastic improvement over season two. I like season two. Yeah, I did. I liked season two. This season, the unless Caleb is there for a reason, like I said, they have to explain what the fuck that reason is, which hopefully they explain this in the next episode of why he's important. Because if he's not important, if he's just there to be cannon fodder, that's gonna piss me off that they had wasted all that time on this character that I'm not liking, quite honestly. Um, yeah, that's my opinion on there. Caleb's there for a soft reboot and to hook in new viewers. Yeah, I know he's there. I mean, I know there's a fan base for Aaron Carter, and is that his name, Aaron Carter? Or I think it is. I can't remember offhand. I don't have IMDb up or anything like that at the moment. But yeah, I know he has a fan base and everything. I'm not one of them. And that's to hook in those viewers. Aaron Paul, thank you, Joe. Aaron Carter's the one of those Backstreet Boys or something like that, right? Or uh, one of them Backstreet Boys, right? See how old I am? See, this is what happens when you don't get that much sleep the night before because you've been up for a long time playing Star Wars Fallen Jedi. What is it? Jedi Fallen Order. I've gotten pretty far too. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. So, hopefully this video hasn't been too glitchy so far. I'm looking at the counter here, and the counter's all right. It's not doing too bad. Um, but if you like what you see here, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the very end of this video. Take a look at the video up here. And also, if you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below here. Um, but it's not always a given there. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com for my weekly schedule and all my social media links. So what's coming up this week? Tomorrow is going to be Dispatches from Elsewhere, the AMC show Dispatches from Elsewhere. We're coming towards the end, and I don't think we're getting a second season of this. Unfortunately, it's a good show. It's a really good show. Tuesday is the final season of Future Man. So yeah, Future Man is going to be coming up on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I am actually thinking about moving this back to Fridays after Harley Quinn because we are in the last couple of episodes, and they did such a good job with this last episode, and everyone's been talking about it finally that I might go back to Fridays just after Harley Quinn on that one because it's a good show. It's ending well, I should say. And Thursday I'm gonna be off. Friday, of course, is Harley Quinn, like I said. So I think I'm gonna do Harley Quinn and Clone Wars, back to back. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast stuff. Then we come back around again for Westworld. Yes, it'll be a double Dennis day. Is that a triple D? I'm not a triple D, by the way. I'm more of just a D cup myself. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get down to an A cup, you know. Oh man, and with that, I'm losing viewers as it is. That's what happens when you grab your moobs on the air. Thanks everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. I know TMI exactly. Join me again tomorrow for Dispatches from Elsewhere. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out that the riot control robot has come to life and is smashing through the walls, and you better watch your ass because Chaloris needs to get home to her kids, or her kid, I should say. Thanks, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.